Sports. Julie?
All right, John Roberts, thank you. John?
More on this now with Saagar Enjeti, White House correspondent for the Daily Caller. So the Muller investigation has been underway a year now. Saagar, is there any end in sight?
Well, the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, would like us to think so, but we've heard that many different times from many of the president's legal counsels in the past. We had originally heard that Thanksgiving was when it would wrap up, then it was Christmas. Here we are heading into midsummer, and Rudy Giuliani says that all that needs to happen now is that the president and his team need to resolve the issue of the interview, and from that point, we will see where that goes.
The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has also said that Mueller essentially told him the president cannot be indicted. I mean, can we take that to the bank as gospel from Mueller?
Well, I think, John Roberts highlighted that the Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal did say that that wasn't the case. However, we know there is a DOJ opinion from 1999 which does say that a sitting president cannot be indicted. But that doesn't mean that the president is out of the woods here, because even if there is no indictment, he could make an impeachment referral to Congress, and which is really the proper avenue in which these types of things should be litigated. The president of the United States was elected, and so our elected body would be the one to try him for the high crime and misdemeanor if there was such a thing that was found by the special counsel.
And there is still the question as to whether or not the president is going to sit down for an interview with Robert Mueller.
That's absolutely right. Rudy Giuliani did say on Fox News that other lawyers would think he was an idiot for allowing the president to submit to an interview, but that if this is the avenue through which they can get this thing wrapped up the fastest, that's the route that they're going to go down. There are still a lot of things to be discussed here as to whether the president will sit down for a 2-hour period, whether he's going to be under oath for such an interview, whether some of the questions which were released by the New York Times could just have written answers submitted by the president's legal team back to the special counsel. So that really is the main sticking point, and it could drag on throughout the summer here.
The president is pretty confident in calling it a witch hunt, pretty confident in saying, no collusion, no obstruction has been found. And so far, I mean, as far as we can tell from everything that's come out of the Mueller investigation, the president seems to be right about that. But I suppose there could be other shoes to drop, and Mueller maybe is holding his cards very close to the vest.
The president's view on this and the White House's view on this is that, the special counsel has pretty much done what he was supposed to do. He indicted those 13 Russians. He has investigated Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Now we are seeing, charges of Michael Cohen's bank fraud unrelated to this. We're seeing, the investigation of Paul Manafort's personal finances dating back to the mid-2000s, resurrecting investigations from the Eastern District of New York. So to them, this is a sprawling investigation, totally outside the purview of its original intent, and that's what he thinks is a witch hunt. He thinks that it's an effort to delegitimize his election, that it's been dragging on and on and on. And the White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, told NPR last week he thinks it's an embarrassment that every single time he has to go before the camera during a pool spray, the majority of the questions that we hear in this briefing room and to the President of the United States are about this matter.
Yeah. Obviously, when you're standing there in front of a foreign leader and you're talking about trade deals or whatever, you don't want to talk about indictments and the special counsel. But they are breathing a sigh of relief at the White House over what Mueller's team told Rudy Giuliani, aren't they?
I'm sure they're breathing somewhat of a sigh of relief, but I think they've learned at this point that this probe has been a thorn in their side for quite some time, and the last thing anybody wants to go through is if the special counsel does give a referral of impeachment to Congress. That in and of itself will be the show trial of the century.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine the tweets we would hear about that one.
Right.
Saagar Enjeti from the Daily Caller at the White House there. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
The Fox News Alert